Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for episode 4 of Welcome to the Dark Sun, also known as the one where the bugs save the world. Okay, maybe they don't save the world, but they were definitely the most influential characters this time around, I think. So to start with, we had a slightly different variation of characters from last time. We had Vashti, who was there last time, the half-elf bard. We had Nibbles, the cannibalistic hobbit, who is also a monk. We had Bardock the druid, who's a mall. We had myself as Salentithius, who is a thri-kreen rogue. And then we also had Drewdock join us, who's different from our characters from last time, and he is a thri-kreen as well, which is awesome! And he's also a bard. If you remember, we left off last session killing a Templar, hiding the body, and stealing his weapon and the gems he had on him. So we decided it might be a good idea to leave the city of Tyr for a while to let the heat die down, but first we had to figure out what to do with those gems. Had to make some money somehow, right? So we headed over to the House of Fingers, which is a bard safe house, and we were able to work a deal out so we got some money exchanged for those gems. One of the tasks that Haka had for us from the previous session was to go get some venom sacs from some giant scorpions, so we decided this was a good way to get out of the city and also to make some cash. So off we went, and naturally there was a mild sandstorm just to make life really terrible, and it caused a lot of damage every single day. And it happened for 3 days. Like, the odds of that are super rare, but of course we got them. And that should have been an indication for how the day was going to go, but the entire first day we didn't have any encounters. We saw some soldiers go past, but other than that, it was pretty okay. But when we were bedding down that night, a cat came towards us. It was like a lynx. It was actually a tagster is what they're called in Dark Sun. And it was hungry and wanted to eat us. I was on watch, so I was the first person who noticed it, so I was trying to kind of rouse people to get them to do something about it. So I tried our druid first, Bardock, and he was like, whatever. Cats like bugs, just go see it. And I was like, I don't want to go. So I poked my fellow thri-kreen and was like, hey, there's a bug over there. And he was like, you deal with it. And so I was like, hey, Nibbles, there's a cat, you should go eat it. She was like, I guess. And so she went over, and her plan was to just pet the cat into submission. And with an amazing animal handling check, that's exactly what she did. So she petted the cat, she gave it some rations, and then cuddled with it for the night. And that's how we dealt with that encounter. And I think probably the funniest thing out of that situation was we got XP for it. And Drewdock, who hadn't been here for a session or two, ended up leveling up with 125 XP from Nibbles petting a cat. What are the odds? Next day, we woke up, started marching again, and shock, mild sandstorm still. So more damage right off the bat, which is always enjoyable. And because of the sandstorm, there wasn't a lot of visibility, so all of a sudden there was a giant antlion in front of us. How fun. It wasn't too crazy of a fight. Nibbles did get grappled for a while, but just as we were about to take this antlion out, the tagster came back and attacked it and saved Nibbles, which was pretty nice, and then just kind of took one of the legs and went away and was like, here's my dinner. So, you know, be nice to cats who are trying to eat you, and they might help you later on. We also ate part of the antlion, because why not? The next morning when we woke up, shockingly, there was still a sandstorm, but Bardock realized that he had a ritual that he could perform so he could try to figure out where these giant scorpions were, because legit we had no idea, and he found them close to us. So we headed in that direction and tried to think about what we knew about these giant scorpions. I did a nature check, and because I'm a bug, it worked out really well, and so I knew that they had blind sight up to 60 feet, which was super helpful for us. We weren't sure how many would be in the clutch, so we decided that the best case scenario would be to try to lure one out, take care of it, and then peace out. Remember how I said the sandstorm lasting for 3 days was an indication of how our journey was gonna go? Yeah, this plan didn't work so well. So the plan was for us to all stand really still, just outside of that 60 feet, and have Bardock move some sand so the scorpions would come out and check it out. We hoped only one would come out and check it out. 5 came out. And we weren't about to take out 5 giant scorpions. That just seemed like a terrible idea. So I shot some magic missiles back into their clutch in hopes that some of them would turn around and go back to that, and 4 of them did, which meant we had this one guy isolated and ready for us to take out. And this battle actually went pretty well. There were 5 of us and 1 of it, and we put it down pretty quickly. Then we decided that Vashti had the best chance of getting the venom sac, so we left it to her. And she failed. So then we had to go after the other giant scorpions. Yay! But we had a better plan this time. We hoped that the clutch wasn't full of like another 20 scorpions. We were just hoping for the 4 that we had seen. Using spike growth, Bardock kind of created an area of do not pass in front of the clutch, and then he started to move sand and earth to get them to come out. I was off to one side so I could throw spells. Nibbles and Vashti were next to Bardock, and then Drewdock was a little bit of ways back because see, bugs are smart. Bugs are like, let's keep out of this general business, let's keep ourselves safe. The spike growth actually worked out really well, and the scorpions took a lot of damage trying to get to us. Some of them even turned around to go back because that was too much damage. And we managed to take out 2 pretty quickly, and the other 2 retreated into the clutch. At this point, we kind of were getting greedy. We're like, well, we took down those 2. Why not take down the other 2? Before we went after the other 2 in the clutch, though, we decided to collect the venom that was outside. Just as a precaution, Drewdock cast Sleep on the clutch to hopefully knock out whatever was in there, so we wouldn't have to worry about being interrupted, but we were still on our guard. Vashti attempted to collect the venom sacs a second time and was actually successful both times, so it was great. So we had 2 venom sacs. That was enough. But still, we decided to go kill the other scorpions, because why not? We're here. So this time we put spike growth all the way around the clutch so we could kind of circle it from various different angles, and then we just started laying into the giant scorpions that were in there. Drewdock was actually super successful in this whole battle and ended up killing a couple scorpions as well as the last one here, and so we decided that Drewdock is like the scorpion slayer. So that's gonna be its new name. Funny thing about Drewdock is the person playing it never picked a gender. The gender for his character is bug. So I'll try to remember that. Drewdock, the scorpion slayer. This time Nibbles harvested the giant scorpions and was successful on both attempts, so suddenly we had 4 venom sacs, which was pretty awesome. We decided to see if we could refine that poison, and we ended up getting 11 vials out of 2 of the sacs, and then our plan was to bring the other 2 back to sell to the apothecary if he would give us a better deal for having 2. If he wouldn't, then we just give him 1 and we'd keep the other one and get more poison for ourselves. We also took 4 scorpion eggs because that seems like a great idea. Let's bring some scorpion eggs back into the city. Sorry, let's bring some giant scorpion eggs back into the city. That won't go wrong. We rested for the night, and then it was time to make our way back to the city of Tyr. And on the way back, I envisioned that Salentithius and Drewdock made up a super awesome secret handshake with all 4 of their claws. Because come on. That's just cool. Why wouldn't you do that? On our second day of travel back to the city of Tyr, we ended up coming across a sandling, or a sand elemental, and that could have gone terribly, except Bardock ended up winning initiative and he created water on this thing, which really slowed it down. As the DM put it, he said, "This guy looks very mucked up." So bad. But I love puns, but so bad. We took care of him pretty quickly and then headed back to the city of Tyr, where we entered through the caravan entrance. And as we were walking down the street, we kind of came across a little bit of a commotion. There were people being dragged out of the bar by Templars, which of itself probably wouldn't raise too many eyebrows, except one of them was a thri-kreen who was out cold, and thri-kreen just trans-sleeps, so obviously something knocked him out. And we actually recognized this thri-kreen. Apparently his name was, I think it was thri-kreen, but we just joked that his name was Doug. Doug the Bug. And also, just to make it super suspicious, as we were walking past, we saw the Templar paying the barkeep. So obviously he drugged them. Sketchy, sketchy people. We went and dropped off the venom sacs with Haka, who promised to get us a good deal for the extra one that we brought in. And then we headed home to rest for the night. In the morning, we all had stuff we want to get done. Bardock wanted to repair some armor, but most important to me was Drewdock wanted to go buy a hand crossbow. And I had made connections with the thri-kreen Khalid the last time, so I said, don't worry bud, I'll hook you up. We met up with Khalid in an alley in the Shadow Square, and I told him about the situation we had seen the night before with the thri-kreen getting drugged, and told him to make sure none of our brethren go there. I'm really trying to look out for all the thri-kreen in the city, and also kind of garnish some good favor with Khalid in case I ever need something. Drewdock put in an order for a hand crossbow, so hopefully it'll appear in a couple weeks, but We'll see how it goes. He could be super sketchy. Also, I forgot to mention it, but just before we left on our trip, Bardock planted some magic fruit that we had, and so today was the day that he could harvest it to see if we had gained anything, and the tree produced 2 fruits, so that was pretty awesome. The decision was made to bury them both, so hopefully those ones will produce 2 more each, and then we'll be up, because at this point we don't really have any healing things, and that kind of sucks. After we had all taken care of the stuff we wanted to get done, we met back up in the Warrens and then headed back over to Haka to see what else he had for us. One of the tasks from last time was still there, which was a gladiator team for battle, and if you remember last time I was super against it. I was still super against it this time. And the other one was a task for Dasari, someone who had helped out a few sessions ago. She wanted us to take care of some arrowhawks that were messing with her caravan route. There were 2 reasons I didn't want to go into the gladiator stadium situation. One, it's just grinding and fighting forever until you win or lose. And 2, I thought it was pretty likely that we were going to lose and we were all gonna die. I almost had them convinced not to do that, and then suddenly they started talking and they all decided it was a great idea, which left me going into this fight that I didn't want to go into, that I was sure we were all gonna die. So we headed to the stadium with me reluctantly dragging along behind them, and we met up with the promoter named Gadidus, who was a half-elf. She told us about the terms of the fight. Basically, if we won, we got 50 CP ahead, and we could keep the bodies and the weapons and the armors of the gladiators we defeated, because Nibbles specifically asked about the bodies. And the promoter was like, okay, you weird hobbit, you can eat the body if you want. Also, she told us that the gladiator we were fighting was named Dakos. He was a dwarf and he had a team of 3. Odds were looking better for us because there were 5 of us and 4 of them, but I still thought it was a terrible idea. Regardless, in we went. Regardless, in we went. And on the first roll, a guide at Bold went right into Bardock and on a crit, killed him. And it was like the perfect I told you so moment. So I did what any sane thri-kreen would do, and I just stayed as far as I could at the one side of the stadium and tried to be super unthreatening. Vashti revived Bardock to 1 hit point, and then Bardock just stayed on the ground almost the entire battle, so everybody thought he was dead, and he was casting magic very subtly. See, that's the problem, because on Athos, using magic, unless it's very specific magic, people are gonna think you're a defiler. So if you use magic, even if you win the fight, you're gonna die. And that really sucked for me because a lot of what I do as an arcane trickster is cast spells. And with my short bow, I could not hit anything to save my life. The perk was that I wasn't dying because I was staying out of the line of fire, but also I wasn't helping at all. And that was kind of another one of my concerns. I'm not going to be effective in this battle. I'm just gonna be there. Of the 3 guys we were fighting besides Dakos, Pest, who was the one that shot Bardock and killed him, was probably the most annoying because he could cast spells, because he was using cleric spells, and it took a while for us to take him down. There was another guy named Chult who wasn't too much of an issue, but then there was this guy named Ven who was a veteran. He was crazy. He could tank a lot of hits, and every move he got 3 melee hits. The only positive thing was because he was so old, we decided he had cataracts, because if he was looking right at you, he couldn't hit you to save his life. If you moved through his space, he would almost crit you. But if he was actually looking at you, for some reason, he could not hit you. And that saved a Nibbles a time or 2. Dakos, meanwhile, was strutting up through the middle like he was all that, and so Vashti did what Vashti does, and Vashti grappled him. It took a couple goes, but eventually she did get him down to the ground, at which point Bardock cast Entangle to help further hold him down, and then Dakos stabbed Vashti and Vashti died. So now we had one that was at 1 HP pretending to be dead on the ground, and we had a Vashti who was very much dead on the ground. Also, by this point, if Nibbles wasn't dead, she was just about dead. Basically, near the end of the battle here, you had 3 people down on our team, and the 2 bugs up and solid and ready to win this battle. Around this time, a bunch of dwarfs in the front row started to cheer for Dakos to get up, and then in heartbreaking fashion, they said, "Leave our daddy alone! Leave him alone!" And of course, we know that Bardock hates little kids, so Bardock wanted to kill them. We managed to stop that though. He actually smartly morphed into a Zackle, which actually gave him hit points, and he used a psionic blade to hit Dakos. Didn't kill him, but it was getting close. But it was definitely up to the thri-kreen to save the day. So both Drudok and Salentithius jumped into the fray and just started going nuts on Dakos, with Drudok giving him the final blow. Now, These little dwarf kids are still screaming for their daddy. Don't hurt him, don't hurt him. And they're saying after this battle he gets to go free, don't hurt him. And that's just mean. And so I whispered into Drudok's ear, I'm like, don't kill him, we'll just take him. They said we were allowed to take the bodies, we'll just take the body, it's fine, just don't kill him. So Drudok just knocked him out, and then we took care of the veteran, and we won. After that, we took the bodies back to our house in the Warrens, we looted them, we got rid of the other 3 bodies, and then I woke up Dakos. He was a little shocked to not be dead, but he was super grateful and said he had no way to repay us, but that he was going to take his family and try to escape for the city of Uruk, which I think is the next closest city. Without knowing how long it would take to get there, and also the fact that he was a slave, I wanted to do something to help him out. I couldn't just provide rations because I wasn't sure how big his family was or how long it would take him to get there, so I gave him 20 silver pieces because it just felt right. So basically now we're huge hero gladiators and we saved a man. So I think that was a pretty good session. It was probably the best outcome that could have happened, but everybody died except for the bugs. So they should have listened to me. They should have listened to the bug. And with that, we just kind of stayed in the Warrens for the rest of the night, and that's the end of that session. If you've watched this far, I have some news for you. I'm actually going on a trip for the next couple weeks, so I'm going to be missing 2 of our D&D sessions, so there unfortunately won't be any Dark Sun updates over the next 2 weeks. However, I am going to try to film some videos, so there will be some D&D content going up, but we'll see how it goes. Which means if you're looking for Dark Sun specific content, you'll have to wait until February 4th for that to come up. But if you subscribe, you will know when it appears. But speaking of, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're looking for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.